What's up, everybody? It's the Roundtable. I do the same thing every month. Every month I do the same intro, but that's because I'm super duper pumped to see you guys because this is so much fun. All right, hold on. First of all, I'm going to take these things off. God, I hate those things. But anyway, welcome to the 29th, 30th, what I don't even know what it is, Roundtable. We have an awesome show today. I know I say that every month, and I'm not kidding every month, but man, oh man, talk about two heavy-hitting guest presenters, two 10th-degree black belts, two 10th degree black belts that promoted them. So, hey, man, you'd be a 10th degree, I'll be a 10th degree. I'm talking legit, real deal 10th degree black belts, two of the best that the system has ever put out. So today we have Mohamad Tabatabai and Paul Dye. And Mr. Tabatabai was the one who picked the technique. The technique today is dominating circles. Gotta admit, pretty much everybody in the Brotherhood went like this when we saw dominating circles. But the thing is it's a challenge. We can't do it. Just do 5 swords every time? Come on now. You got to pick something difficult. So dominating circles is an excellent choice. All right, let's get started. Our first presenter. You guys, everybody knows and loves him. He's with the U's, Laura and Brightman, which let's just get this out of the way early before we even go to him. Donfro's starting early because they have something very important to do. It's Laura's son, Sam, who we all know and love. It's Sam's birthday. So the big happy birthday from the entire Brotherhood to Laura's son, Sam. And now let's throw it over to one of my favorite places on earth, Dartmouth.
All right. Thanks, Dan. Great to see everybody. So, yeah, dominating circles. When I heard dominating circles, I was like, that's going to be a tough one. But, I think we came up with a few things. First, I'm going to show you the way I learned dominating circles originally. Never liked it. And then, the more I learned about the technique, I changed up the way I did a little bit. But we're going to show like one relationship with the technique, and then we're going to graft a little change up into it, which makes it, pretty interesting. So the way I learned dominating circles originally was off of a grab, an offset grab, and it was trap, step with a chop, then bring this around, done in 2 moves. And I never liked it because you're doing way too much before you even get to a major hit. All right, so it was 1, 2, and then the sweep. And then we actually went into a twist stance before we stepped through and pulled them around. Again, not a fan of being in a twist stance when you're in a wrestling match with somebody because the balance is going to be an issue. So that was the way I originally learned. I'm not even going to demonstrate the way I originally learned it, but what we can do is the first move is the difference. So I'll have Brighton grab Laura. Back up a little, please. There you go. All right, so there's the grab, and boom, done in 1 move. So do that again. Bam. All right. So now, so Brightman comes into me. So here, coming around, bam, and then just dropping it on the arm again. Here, kind of leaving this out. You can still kind of insert that on the way through. All right. Then it's into the sweep, and then you got the arm, and then we're gonna step through and bring him down. And then if he's over there, we'll drop and kick. All right, but anyway, I wanted to look at a relationship in that move. So one more time, you have, let me see, let's get in there. So dominating circles, wham, boom. All right, so now if Brightman comes in with a punch on Laura, whap, and just go to this move here. Leave that out for now. So what does that look like? You all know it, circling the horizon. So if you drop it, if you punch him in the face, then drop, of course, you can get right into your dominating circle. So just start with a circle on the horizon. Go ahead. Bam, and then you're there. You're right up into it. All right, so now, a little graph that we were messing around with this. Another funny thing, I don't know if everybody else learned 2 versions of Lone Kimono Extension A and B. The B version of Lone Kimono Extension would be, Brightman will demonstrate. There it is. Again, we're kind of getting off the point, but it'll all tie together. So one more time on that. Here. Bam. So now if he came in with an offset grab, pop, pop, boom. And then here we are. We got him right back there again. So let me get over here. So I have 1, 2, 3. I have them right here. Taking them in and down. All right, and just a little fun thing. Maybe we should go this way for this one. So this one can be pretty brutal. 1, 2, 3. I get them here. Now, just like the technique, I can come around front and sweep the leg. Here. Pow. So again, that is pretty bad. You give me a choice, sweep the leg from the back versus sweeping it from the front, I'll take it from the back any day. So stop it. Flap it out. I meant this. All right, whatever. All right, get back over here. So one more time. Off the grab, first move. Bam. And then off the punch, first move. Same deal. There it is. And then we threw a little insert in there. So with dominating circles, I bring a few little things to the table, but not as much as usual. But anyway, we will send it back over to you, Dan.
So it doesn't change the fact that no matter how many years go by, we're still all 12 years old. That's what I took from that one. But the Kenpo was spectacular, as usual. Thank you very much to the Dotmouth crew and Dan Donfro. All right. In our latest installment of Let's Hope He Doesn't Teach What I'm Going to Teach, we're going to hand it over to the guy that you can always see standing right next to me because we're always everywhere together. My man, Mr. Brian Saw.
What's up, Brotherhood? Hey, Dan, you want to pull my finger? No? Okay. All right, what's going on, everybody? So dominating circles, yeah, I definitely not a huge fan of the technique, and if you'd like to see my seminar, just rewatch the last 5 minutes because Donfro did what I was going to, well, kind of, sort of. All right, so let's talk about Sorry, 2 dogs run right in front of me. Dominating circles. I've never been a huge fan of this technique, and actually, Donfro hit upon it as to why. You're not really doing anything until you get here. It's a lot of distance people are traveling in order to get to that first shot. The nice thing you can do here is shorthand. You guys ever watch boxers, right? They don't always just slip and then jab. They slip and jab at the same time. You can apply that same thing here in dominating circles. Instead of going 1, 2, right? Shorthanded. When you do this parry, how many right-hand technique punches do we have where you can go here, you can go here, you can go here? A nice shot to the hip, right in. So as step off, hit that shot on the way to this. It can be this. Mr. Donfro did this. Heck, you could do the Thundering Hammer's entrance in there if you wanted to, you know, and come right into here. It's all the same. It doesn't matter. The point being, when you step off, you don't necessarily have to do 1, 2. Make it, as Mr. Donfro talked about, a single move. 1, come through. This needs to straighten and the heel needs to anchor. We get that lesson in Long 5, right? When we get here, you gotta drop that heel. That's showing these buckles that we do. You ever do a buckle technique on somebody and you buckle them out and they just lift their leg and it was ineffective? Part of the lesson is buckling so that you can get that weight on the leg so that when you do buckle it, it takes the base out from under them. All right, so after you drop in here, this has to anchor here, right? And then you can pull forward and you could go into, how many techniques come from here? Lancing salute, right? You could go here. It's the same thing. You could add the end of glancing salute onto the end of dominating circles. So shortcut, drop it. Here's your palm heel. All right, I'll give you a little tidbit here. In our school, you get 1 get out of jail free on every test. It can only be used once, and this is an example of it. The term, when you have your things going in opposite directions, midpoint balance. Someone doesn't know a question on a test, they can play that card 1 time, say midpoint balance, and we skip to the next topic. But you have this midpoint balance thing here as you are stretching them out before you pull them into all of this other good stuff where you rip the shoulder off and you drop the knee and then stomp, okay? But that was that entrance that I wanted to talk about. just like Donford talked about. It doesn't have to be 1, 2. Shorthanded. Think about boxers. Boom, and you're right in there, right? And then you control. And when you do this control, this hammer left, the head will always go where the body. The body will always follow the head. So after you hit this, you keep the pressure on them down. Okay, that's what both of these hands are serving. You can guide the face down so that you can turn them face down into the hammerlock position as you drop down and rip that shoulder out before you follow up with the knee and the stomach. All right, that was my stream of consciousness on dominating circles. Hope you got something out of that. I don't know if I went 5 minutes or what I went, but thank you very much, everyone. Great to see you. Did I steal your
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Saw. Excellent stuff as always. All right. Moving right along. We're going to send it up to the King of Canada, coming live from London, Ontario, Mr. Steve Stewart.
Now, who picked this technique? Who did this?
That would be some guy named Mohamad Tabatabai.
He's a great guy. I love this technique. It's one of my favorite techniques.
You should take it up with him, Steve.
Good comeback. Anyway, so it's the Canadian version, dominating circles. We have the circle, and whoever can get to that first wins. Ready, go. You see? Ready, stop. Go. You see? And that's the version. Is that okay? Okay, we'll do something else.
Thank you very much, Mr.
Okay, nowadays there are two different body types. Like everybody else, I'm not a fan, but I am a fan today because Mr. Tabatabai picked that. Us. We'll use it from two different body type. Yeah. So I do it for a push or a grab. The beginning's like the same as everybody else, and then I kind of modified the rest. So from a push position, between push and a grab, of course, is timing. So from a push position, I'm going to quickly move up the line this way. I'm going to take this hand, anchor it over top. There's a point right in the middle of the bicep, insertion point here. I can really drop the knees, but I'm hitting it with my elbow to drop that, buckle the leg, and stretch them right out. The difference is I don't step forward and waste motion. I just anchor them this way, pushing down on this with my hand, turning the body this way, and dropping them on this side here. And then you can just do whatever. So in Canada, we go counterclockwise. So from a push, that's my push position there. If he's pushing on my arm this way, push here, I can move it like repeating mace. I can move up, anchor that, stretch that out. And when you buckle the leg, there's an insertion point right at the base of the medial malleolus. If I push on that point, see how it buckles and I'll drop the leg? So I'm hitting that point at the same time. I'm stretching them the opposite way. From a different, thank you, sir. That was Noah. We still got the mass thing going on here. Everything else. From a different body type, I wouldn't pull that off with Jacob, same way I did on Noah. It was a push position, or we'll go to a grab, please. A push position here. When I move up the circle here and I anchor that, there's no way I'm going to anchor him and turn around. So what I do is when I stretch him out this way, there's a point at the top of the head, insertion point. It's like your internet freezing and dropping. If I seal that point, he'll drop all on his own. Then I'm just going to roll him over, anchor him this way. From the grab position, if he's grabbing me, I always like to create a diversion like in Falling Falcon. So there's an insertion point right here I would use when I'm going to take this arm, bring it over, drop that down, stretch him out, seal him up, take him down again, do the same thing. On a younger person, even with a different body type, even if he grabs, the insertion point here works differently on this body type than the other body type. On this one here, if I go in and up, see how it drops him? If I go in and down, he can take that more. Don't move, I won't hurt you. But if I come in and up on that insertion point, see what it does? Then I can anchor that. This guy I can stretch. This guy I can maneuver. This guy I can buckle down to the ground. However, the same thing on this gentleman as I do in that body type. Again, the movement is this, roll back and drop. Even if he was pushing and I come up here, I can still do the same thing here. Still him, and a little drop right to the ground. You can try at your own school. It's just above the eyebrow in the middle. You just touch that and roll it back easy. They just drop. Jacob, same sort of thing. I haven't unbalanced them, but just the middle of the eyebrow. If I just touch that, they'll just drop. You can do it's like a Harry Potter move. But the thing I want to emphasize here, even for the grab, the point in here that I'm hitting with my elbow, you can really feel it. If I push it that way, you can really feel it. At the same time, if I move that and I seal that there, I can buckle, still go down a lot faster. So a couple of things to emphasize again. Come over here. Over here. Is that facing me? Is that the insertion point on this gentleman compared to this gentleman, if you want to use it as a diversion to get in, this one's in and down. If I go this way down, he'll feel it. If I go this way up, he'll feel that. The buckling again, beauty of malleolus is just below that. When I touch that there, you can feel that. So those are just a couple other insertion points you can use. The third eye here, or on this gentleman here. Turn it this way. The third eye on this one here. Do the same thing. That's all I wanted to add to that. It's my favorite technique today. Back to you, Dan.
All right. Thank you very much to David Lee Roth and Alex and Wolfgang Van Halen. We really appreciate your time here today. All right. Moving right. Oh, it's me. It's me. All right, cool. Well, then I'm just going to stand up and go. So, dominating circles. What do we have to say about dominating circles? So I thought about this technique, and there's a few things that I wanted to share with you. Brian just texted me stream of consciousness. Yeah, we're really thinking about this because this is not an easy technique to do. This is one of these techniques that you look at someone and go, hey, like you go to a seminar and some high-ranking instructor's like, hey, what do you want to do? And you raise your hand. They're like dominating circles. And then the instructor goes, okay, snapping twigs. But we love the challenge. So dominating circles, you find in long form 3, right? Now, where do you find it in long form 3? You find it in right after crashing wings, right? So you drop the elbow, bam, and then you come around behind elbow hammer. So what are you doing? You have your footwork, which is a 7-step. All right, so what you're doing is you're doing a 7-step. Short form 3, you go here and you do a little bit of a V-step before you hit. Long form 3, you go with a little bit of a deeper step, okay? So what you have is you have an opponent behind you and you're using this footwork to learn how to take the guy down, and then you have an opponent in front of you and you're using this footwork, same footwork, to learn how to take a guy down, all right? So there's your relationship number 1. Number 2, crashing wings is a bear hug from behind, as opposed to dominating circles being an offset push. So with your opponent behind you, he's on you body to body, you're going to engage both arms and drop those elbows together, and then you're going to come around here, and you're going to take out the head and then strike to the body. You can, all right, well, anyway, so now you're going to take out the head and strike to the body. Now, when you're doing dominating circles, what are you doing? You're coming underneath here like we've been talking about, okay? And then you come around from the elbow, you go right into the strike and then take out the head. So you have another option there, okay? This shot here, it's kind of like a cross face. It's a great move. You turn the head, like Saul said, where the head goes, the body follows. Now, you could, from here, bam, hit, come through and grip, and then you could go into an anchor like grip of death and take the guy down because he has no bracing angle this way. But we've already done that in grip of death, so why don't we try something a little different? Hit, and then you step through and you rotate the head. So now instead of having the guy fall backwards, you're going to have him fall forwards. And that could be depending upon environment, opponent, scenario, what do you want to do? But that's just another tool in your toolbox. So what are we talking about here? You're talking about the double elbows for the double attack, and then this elbow goes hit and then strike, as opposed to a single elbow, which comes around and strike, and then you change the angle there. One last thing I want to talk about. When I only had the opportunity to meet Ed Parker once. And in that seminar, Mark Lawler was there. In that seminar, Ed Parker forgot long three. I asked my instructor about it, and he was kind of like, yeah, well, you know, Da Vinci might not be able to recreate the Mona Lisa, but he understood how to get there in the first place. I was like, all right, I'll take that. But anyway, in there, we were doing, he got to about crashing wings, and he couldn't remember. And then somebody says to him, Mr. Parker, isn't it this? And the throw was wrong, right? The throw was wrong. And Parker looks at him and goes, I don't remember what it is, but I know that's not right, you know? So, and we originally learned it this way with the circle around and hit. We never learned it. We didn't learn it with the ridge hand until later on, okay? But back in the day, there was Panther Productions used to do a pretty sweet deal. It was a video company. They would sell VHS tapes at 5 for $100. Okay, so I gathered up $500 on my karate teacher, school manager's salary. Not 500, 5 for 100. I gathered up $100, which was two-thirds of my weekly salary, and I got the 5 videos. 2 of them were Larry Tatum, and then there were 3 more. One of them became comic relief the other way. The other one was pretty much just informational. But the third one happened to be Mohamad Tabatabai's long form 3. And at the time, I hadn't really heard much of this gentleman, but he was selling videos. And that was the first time I saw that ridge hand in there. And I implemented that ridge hand right away. My instructor didn't like when I changed the curriculum, but I didn't like the way he had his curriculum going anyway. So when no one was looking, I was like, look, put a ridge hand in there. I saw that on a video, you know. So credit to you, Mohamad Tabatabai, on helping me out on that. All right, that's all I have to say about that. Up next, we're going to move it over to Barcelona. Lorenzo.
Hello. It's very nice, my city. Yes or no? It's very, very nice. So
beautiful. We want to see it live.
Okay. So I have, I will explain about a couple of things, okay? I do the technique this way. Step, this offset, step. This is 2 circles. Remember, for the people that feel like complete category, you have the circle is in this way, and you have the circle is in this way, okay? And then you can play with these 2 moves. So this is the first one. The second one is in this way. First step, then front crossover. I do this. I change the direction. I go down. I did a soft rock with the knee with this part of the neck. Okay. So one thing to check. Remember the basis of the technique. We need to analyze the long 4-2. Remember this move. 1, 2. This is the move that you need to check when you are doing the technique, okay? Because you are doing this, and then you do this, and then you do a step and twist stance. So when you are working in the long 2, you are doing the move when you do this, and then the other one in this way to move completely, the hip and the shoulder, okay? Because in this technique, when you are doing this, you are doing this way, the power. Not in this way, because if not, you push the body to you and you go back, okay? So it's very important when you are doing the form is step and turn correctly, your hip and your shoulder, same direction. And now you can generate more power when you are doing this move, okay? And then remember long 4. Long 4, ba-da-ba, bang, bang. You need to see when you are doing this move is the same in long 4. Remember, all the time when we are in the 4, in 4 stance, we need to think something. Why we do the move in 4 stance? This is a tip in the long 4. You need to think in that in all the forms you have the isolament, okay? You are doing 4 stance, only in the 5 you are not doing this, but you have another isolament, okay? So in long 4, you are doing this for something. Okay, we are 3 or 4 reasons. Okay, you need to think about this. And the basic move in the technique is, as we are trying to explain, this is the basic move, this is the other base move. And then you use your body to check where here in this way, okay? And then you are doing the software and the knee. And this is very simple. As a down throw, I don't like this technique in the past, but now I like the technique because it's very nice. I'm feeling very good when I work the basics. Okay, so I repeat. Okay, I repeat. 1, 2. You need to control the body of the attackant in 2 circles. One in the upside, and another one out downwards. Okay, 1 and 2, and then 3 in this way, and you push in this way. Okay, now you push in this way, then you go back, you go down, suffer, and knee. Okay, this is the technique for me, and this is only the tips that I try to explain. Okay, this is all. This is my city, and you are my family, of course, with Mohamad Tabatabai, with Mr. Dai. Okay, with Kongaika, with Mr. Capone another time. It's fantastic, this family. I love this game. Okay, so I come to you, Dan, and I will go to continue to walk around my city. Okay, so see you again. I back to you, Dan.
Oh, here we go. Thank you very much, Lorenzo. I told you guys this before. The beginnings of my relationship with Lorenzo and Sabora's relationship with Lorenzo was one weekend we hung out in LA with Angelo as well. And invariably at 2 o'clock in the morning, it turned into a Kenpo chat, and we were doing techniques, and I knew the guy was talented. But man, oh man, it is so refreshing to see the brain. You can see the moves, but to see the brain in action is super duper cool. Thank you very much, Lorenzo. Awesome as always. All right, up next is one of the coolest guys I've ever met. I don't mean cool like nice. I don't mean cool. I mean literally like cool in the meaning of the word cool. This guy's always having fun, and he's down in Miami. Who'd have known about this? Check this out. We'll say it Monty and Company today.
Sound check is good? Okay, then let's go. Guys, I got a hell of a surprise for you. My brother is Larry Kongaika is here. Bam! All the way from Los Angeles. And Tony Capone. Bam! On the balcony of Fontainebleau. And you guys got to see this. I'm risking everything here, moving the camera. I got to let you see this. There you go. And, of course, the swimming pool and everything is around the swimming pool.
It's a party. It's a party.
It's a party 24 hours a day here. Okay. And, of course, before we start always, I say thank you to all the frontline workers and all the people that is helping us pass through this pandemic situation. And we'll go to the technique directly. Okay. This technique,
Yeah.
okay, so this technique, if the guys come in this fashion and it's got created a push, my immediate reaction would be this to drop the here, go in and hit and lift them up. But if it happens this way and I drop them in, there's the knee strike on the way back in here, and as I land, there's the throat shot to take them down. And then from there, as I slip forward, there's that, and there's the back grab, and I make sure that he's down all the way to the ground as I pull. Okay, so that is very important for me. So if he's coming in with a push, I drop immediately, and then this goes in. As I drop down, there it goes. And then from there, as I forward end it, it's automatically, I don't let him have a chance with this hand because I'm going to drive it all the way to the ground. Okay? That's my side of it because we got 3 major stars of Kenpo. I was figuring out, you guys, let me tell you something. I was figuring out the time that these 3 of us in Kenpo, you got 3 more, you got over a century of knowledge right here. Okay? So I passed it on to my next, to my next brother. He's going to show his part.
All right, this is just going to be a quick. We're not going to go take it to the ground or anything. We all know about that stuff. Just some things that we talked about how did you get into this? Why would a guy cross push? First thing is maybe I'm just trying to get around and I get out of the way and cross push. The second thing I like what Mr. Don and also Saul about tenderizing the guy. So comes in, I'd like to get a little shot in there as I come around and then step down. Now, when I bring it down, I'd like that head to go down. I use that bar foot to just do a web hand to the throat. So when it comes around, it would be just right up to the throat, and then I would sink it to the ground. And I would, me personally, I'm too old to be wrestling with anybody. I would probably just put him to the ground and run like hell. Okay, so
This will do it.
but that's a nice little shot there.
And I'm still echoing right now. And I really think
And the nice thing about it is when the guy's arm comes up here, step, his vision, he does not see that. So it's just one of those where you sink your body down into it, and then you go back. So, and that gives you that little bit of a, because it's hard to hit hard like just this. So you need to sink your body down and you come across and then come up. Anyway, just a little thing. Everybody,
and the star of the day.
Yeah, whatever. All right, so my big thing about this, the hardest part is really the buckle. We've always done the buckle where we do the takedown and do the looping downward or whatever, they go down. This is just glancing, dominating circles with the glance. And that's kind of what I focus on with my students. As he pushes, I'm going to up parry. This is going to come up. Again, we're going to trap that leg. And then this part right here is really what's going to get him to position his body correctly. I wouldn't get you, but imagine if I said, and grab his head and fulcrum. So there's that cross and jumping cover. But I'm not going to really do this way. One, come up, and hit. And then use that grab. From here, I'm not going to stop. It's like a jumping cover for me. Or I'm going to continue to move, roll, and rip that arm. The idea is really to rip that arm out and stop it. So, and that's kind of how I did it. To me, what sets the technique is kind of the first strike. We were talking about that earlier. Which one? Well, the focus is the arm. It's really the jaw right here. But I'm not trying to get him in the face to be nice. But imagine if I caught him in the face with foot, and then I poke him in the head and then rest that arm. So really, to me, it's once you poke that jaw and hit him, and then you cross. That's how you set the technique. That's what I did. So everything's ideal phase. And then you play with it. Great stuff, guys. Love it.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Oh, and it's power, guys. Salute. Thank you so much.
Miami.
Signing out.
And a salute to you guys, man. How cool was that? I love it. Absolutely love it. I mean, that is the brotherhood right there. 3 Kenpo guys just getting together, hanging out, training, and smiling. 3 good dudes, too. 3 good dudes. We have 1 regular. We have 2 guys who've been guest presenters on here. Oh, man, that was what an excellent surprise. All right. So I'm going to take a minute to talk about a few things. Number 1, if you like what you are seeing here and you would like to see more of the Brotherhood, you could always become a member of the Brotherhood. For only $50 a year, you can just go to brotherhoodkenpo.com, click on Join Now. All right, you're going to get your membership packet with your ID card laminated in your patch, and you're also going to get access to our members-only page. Now, it just so happens I'm noticing here today, our newest member, Mr. Don from Texas, is here. So welcome and salute to you and welcome to the Brotherhood. Your packet will be in the mail soon, and we appreciate your support. Glad you're with us. So I was going to do, actually, because it's dominating circles, I was going to film something yesterday, just kind of throw on the camera and share with you guys my thoughts. That's the kind of the stuff that we do on that members only page. And, Sabora did a video a couple days ago. I got to be honest with you, I didn't check it out. I've been super duper busy, but I always check out everything. So he said it's an ugly technique. So I'm curious to see what technique it was. But anyway, that was awesome. Also, you see these guys down here in Miami. Larry, I wish it was 1 week from now, because in a week, we are going to be in Miami at the Pan Am Games. We're going to be down there checking it out, seeing what it's all about. Mr. Manny Reyes, from what I understand, puts on a spectacular tournament down there. I can't wait to see that. And then we're going to be doing seminars on Sunday, the 14th. For more information, you can also go to brotherhoodkenpo.com. Okay, the information is up there, or you can check out, all of our Facebooks. I think I said this last week. If you want to know what we're going to be doing, just do what my wife does when she wants to know what I'm going to be doing, and that's check Sabora's Facebook page. All right, and next year we have some big stuff coming up. I'm just going to tease that now. We have some big plans. We've been talking to some people about some things. We have our 10th anniversary celebration coming up in March, which is going to be cool at Sabora's. We've been traveling around a lot in the last 6 months. We've been to LA, we've been to Maryland twice, here at my place, up to Dartmouth. We're headed to Miami in a couple of weeks. We are on the move, and it's a thing of beauty. So if you'd like to be a part of it, we'd like to see. We just like to hang out and have fun. Check us out at brotherkenpo.com. All right, our next presenter. Our next presenter is one of our featured guests. Now, I have to say, this is a testament to Mohamad Tabatabai and what kind of a guy he is. When we first started this roundtable, and nobody really knew what we were doing, we asked him if he would come on and be a presenter, because if you want to, blow up something in Kenpo, Mohamad Tabatabai is a good guy to help you do that. And he right away, yeah, man, I can do it. We asked him a second time, yeah, man, I can do it. Because that's a testament to how good a guy he is. We really, really appreciate it. And he is coming up right now. Mr. Tabatabai, if you could just unmute your mic. Oh, I got you right here. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Mohamad Tabatabai.
Hello, everyone. How are you guys doing? Hey, go Eagles, huh?
All right.
Okay. Bring
It's great to see you, sir.
And, yeah. Okay. We're going to talk about this technique, dominating circles. And the name of the technique is going to tell you what you do. Your circles have to dominate. Okay. So this is when the guy is reaching with the right hand, getting close to you. And then when you go over his arm and trap it, since there is contact, there is body contact, you have to disturb the balance. Okay, you can't just get around the guy and stay, because if you don't disturb his balance, then he's got a chance of disturbing your balance. So let's see if we could go over this thing. So if he's reaching with the right hand, okay, so we have choices. We have choices that if he's tapping this arm, let's say, and coming to a technique like circling the horizon, if he's reaching, that we could go technique like a gathering clouds, okay? Or if he's reaching, that we could just go into a rear clinch and try and take him down, okay? So now when we talk about dominating circles, okay, so once we make him miss with the arm, okay, no, bring the camera lower, all right. You got to get around and disturb that balance, okay? Now, bring the camera up higher, okay. So when he reaches and we disturb the balance and then shoot away, okay, now we go to our next move, okay? Bring the camera down low. I want to take you guys through my stances, okay? So let me do this here. Your stance is going to be a left forward bow facing 12 o'clock, going into a right forward bow facing 132 o'clock. Okay, that's going to be your stance. So watch what I do. Okay, tilt it over so you can see my leg. Okay, so down lower. There you go. Okay, so when I step around here, and stuff. This is my left forward bow. Okay, turn a little bit this way. Good, right there. Right there. There you go. Now from this left forward bow trapping in here, then I step into a right forward bow. Okay, so from left forward bow facing 12, I step forward into a right forward bow facing 132 o'clock to go back of his leg. Now, a couple of things going to happen. Okay, bring it up. A couple of things going to happen. With this move, if I take him down, okay, and sweep him, okay, then when he goes down, bring the camera lower, okay, we continue with the same trap of the arm to get around and rip. Okay, there you go. So we do the same technique if he's down on the ground. Bring the arm, turn his head, bring the arm on his back, and then rip the arm. Take him up. But if he's still up when he reaches, and we're at this point, now as I heel palm, okay, to turn his head, I'm hugging his arm, okay, heel palm this way, hugging the arm, as I step into my forward row at the same time to buckle back of his left leg. Right here. Okay, so turn, okay. So I'm starting to turn him into me, turn his head into me. So when I step around, then as I go back with my right leg, I rip the arm and bring him down to the ground. Okay, so reach again. Okay, so once he reaches, attempt to grab, attempt to push, okay, and you come over and you stump, shoot opposite direction. That's where your left forward bow is. Now you hit the heel palm and trap his arm, okay, turn to go back of his left leg. Bring it a little bit lower. You see how that's buckling at the same time that I'm turning his arm and turning his head. Now I step around, okay, and then rip down to bring him down. Okay. You have to make sure you controlling this person, dealing with the body weight, but the important thing on that first initial move is to buckle around that front leg and get him to lose his balance, so then you'll be able to take it from there. And like I said, depending on height of the guy, if he's taller and you could get underneath it, then you could even go around and do a rear clinch on him and take him down. And or you go into your gathering clouds, or go into your circling the horizon and having some fun. So that's pretty much how I look at the dominating circles. If you guys have any comments or questions, let me know so we could talk about it.
Anybody want to chime in? Go ahead. If you have any questions, now's the opportunity.
No,
Typical
sir.
seminar. Nobody wants to ask.
All right. Good. Have fun with it, and I'll see you guys in a future program.
For sure. Thank you very much, Mr. Mohamad Tabatabai. You're a good dude, and you're a class act. We appreciate it every time you come by. All right, I'll even do it. Go Raiders. Thank you so much, Mr. Mohamad Tabatabai. All right, moving right along. Hey, this is really cool. I am so excited to be able to be the person to announce this. We were given this piece of information a couple days ago, and us in the Brotherhood were ecstatic. So now it is time for me to have the honor to share with you that our good friend, Mr. Michael Miller, has been promoted to the rank of 6th degree black belt by his instructor, Dave Hebler. Congratulations, Michael Miller. Very well deserved.
Thank you, my friend. Appreciate it. It's an honor. Okay. All right. So, dominating circles, just like everybody else. It's not one of my faves, but that's okay. It's got some good stuff. All right. I'm just going to go through. I just have a few things I want to say about it, but I'm going to go through the way that I do it. Obviously, the attack is a right hand grab to basically the right shoulder, offset grab. We've talked about that. Right, and it should be known that their right foot is forward. Okay, generally for this ideal phase. Now, a what if phase, maybe their left foot's forward. So, right foot forward, they do the grab. I check, and this is the circles. I agree with everybody else. If you can, insert a strike. The way I've learned this and teach this is you check, you come around to where your right leg and your right arm at the same time are doing the circles. You land in a horse and you immediately shoot back and fire your palm strike. You're going to be in a forward bow. You probably can't see my feet that well, but that's okay. Forward bow, okay? So we go here, here, and then I go to a neutral, and I do a palm here to the jaw to turn the head, okay? Because some people teach it as a chop to the throat. Nothing wrong with that either, okay? But I do it as a palm because that turns the head and it helps you with that wraparound to get the hammer lock with your right hand and then turn their head with your left hand. So it's like those people you see at the gym. You know, if you go to the gym and you're working out, it's those people that flex in the mirror all the time. They're too busy looking at themselves instead of working out, and they're doing this and stuff. That's really what you're doing right here. You know, so we go here, here, here. Now, what I do is I don't look at it. Me personally, I don't look at it as going into a twist stance. I look at it as doing a front crossover. So I don't stop. You know what I'm saying? It's one of those where you go here, 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 and then it's boom, boom. So you do this as you go through. And then once you get to that position, that's when you do the step through and reverse. And I also like to do some like step drags in reverse sometimes, just to drive them to the ground. So you drive them to the ground, and then I do a dropping knee and then a stomp with my left leg. Dropping knee with the right leg, stomp with the left leg. That's the way that I teach that. Okay. So once again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'm going to move up a little, and then shimmy them down. You're basically trying to dislocate their shoulder here, drive their face into the ground. Leaping knee, leaping stomp is the way that I teach this, okay? Now, what I want to really bring out here for this technique is 3 different things. We're looking at contact manipulation, into control manipulation, into control maintenance. Okay? Contact manipulation is the 4th stage of the 4 stages of range. Okay? So we know we have within contact, out of contact, within contact, contact penetration, contact manipulation. Those are the 4 stages of range according to Mr. Parker's system. So once again, out of contact, which means I can't hit you. Within contact would be I can hit you, but I'm just basically going to the target. Contact penetration means I'm hitting you and going through the target, which is what you prefer if you're striking in most cases. Unless if you're poking them in the eye, you don't need to go through it. But that's a different story. But anyway, and then contact manipulation is where you're into the joint locks, the twists, the takedowns, the chokes, all that fun stuff. So we're going into contact manipulation, and then we turn it into control manipulation, which means you are steering them or maneuvering them into a better position, okay, for you to control them. So you have the contact manipulation, and then you got the control manipulation. The control maintenance is once you've steered them where you want them to be, you maintain control. Okay, so you're looking at all 3 of those in this technique. All right. The other thing I want to say about this technique is in Kenpo, if we're dealing with an attacker, number one, we can move them. Number two, we can move ourselves. Or number three, we can move both of us. This technique moves both of us. Okay, so that gives you an example of moving both of us. So if you look at any contact manipulation techniques, it's like, well, I can move you, I can move me, or I can move us both. And I think that's pretty much all I wanted to tell you guys or say about this. Thanks again, guys. We'll see you guys soon. Rock on.
Thank you very much for the first time in public officially, Professor Miller. How cool is that? All right. Thank you very much, Michael. Excellent as always. All right. Moving right along. We're going to send it over to Kennett Square, Pennsylvania. What's happening in Kennett Square, Pennsylvania? Well, on May 20th, Huck's going to be there. So hopefully you guys will be there too. It will be awesome, awesome, awesome. It was a great time last time we saw Huck. It takes Huck. For those of you who don't know, in the middle of the seminar, Huck pulled Mark Lawler up. And if you know Mark Lawler, none of us tried to punch him in the face. And Huck punched Mark Lawler in the face about 15 times in a row. And Mark took it because it's Huck, and we loved it. My good friend, Mr. Mark Lawler.
Hey, it was an honor to get punched by Huck. That's like back in the day when Mr. Parker hit you, people would, my old sensei, Pat, would say, he hit you. That means he likes you. Yeah, so, yeah, everybody, we're going to have Mr. Planis here in May 20th. I hope those of you can make it, can come support that. We got a nice big school here. Lots of hotels and restaurants near me. Should be a good time. I want to say hi to Mohamad. Great to see you again. And thanks for coming in on sharing. Mr. Dye, I'm looking forward to seeing you again. I remember we had that Zoom together a while ago. And congratulations, Mike Miller. Well deserved, my friend. Congratulations on that promotion. You deserve it. Okay, dominating circles. I'm going to take a different track on this since everybody's covered the technique. Ideal bit of the what if phase. We're going to work this into a technique trilogy, if you will. I would just say to you guys that have wrestled and done jujitsu know that if you're moving around with somebody, they don't stay there. They adjust, okay? They squirm around, they switch positions. That's how you're taught. Just like in sparring, people don't stay where you want them to. They're going to move, okay? Now, the first technique is going to be, Gail, if you don't mind, and my lovely wife, Gail, everybody, you all know, is going to be, sorry about this, is going to be thrusting prongs. All right, so let's come at me this way here, Gail. Okay, so she's going to come in with thrusting prongs. I'm going to come back, shoot my knee on my side kick. As I go to elbow her, she's going to duck and take my back. Okay? From here, I go, oh, yeah. I'm going to drop down, come around into crushing moves. Let's adjust here. Can you move around here this way? All right, so as I go to elbow her, she's going to duck to the front of me, okay? Now we're in front. Now, according to the syllabus in dominating circles, we have this arm trap. Here, we're just going to drive this into the chest and the hands into the eyes, the old alien strike. So I make cracking her up here. All right, now with my size, I could just pitch her here. But staying consistent with the technique, I'm going to come around behind her. And what I like to do here, not just on her because I'm bigger than her, but generally when I do something like this, I'm going to drive through the head and push her arm and just turn wham, this way and take it down. Okay? Not that I don't like the other way, where you step through, you bulldog the head and drive the arm, and you depending on how you want to do that, with a switch step or however you do that, and then drag them out and plant their face into the planet, and then strip their arm. That's all good. It's just a little too much work for me. I mean, if I got somebody in that position, rather than mess around with my feet, I'm just going to drive them head first into the ground. Okay, so we'll walk through this one more time for you guys to look like again. Oh, by the way, in just juxtaposing to Dan, this is what happens in long three. You're doing a technique for somebody behind you into a technique for somebody in front of you. Now, arguably, you could say, oh, that's two bear hug techniques. That's why they're matched together. Well, dominating circles is supposed to be a shoulder grab. So really you would say is tripping arrow. But what's the frickin' difference between dominating circles and tripping arrow? Not really much when you look at the way that you're executing the throw. So, they're grouped together that way for a reason. So again, it's just a cool way to work it. She comes in with the front bear hug, boom. I come into my thrusting crunch, she ducks. I go, oh yeah. I come behind her, do the crashing wing, she ducks. You can keep my elbow, you can come behind, and then just pull the arm and smash her in the face down she goes. Thank you, dear. Thank you, dear. I'll pay for that later. She's laughing, but let me tell you. All right, so that's all I got. Back to you, Dan.
Hey, man, for one guy who's been married a long time to another, I know what's coming. Thank you very much to the Lawler family. You guys know I love seeing you all the time, so it's great to see you guys again. All right, moving right along. We're going to send it out to the undisclosed location. All sorts of activity happening out there in LA with the Kenpo scene. Right now, we're going to send it over to Angelo.
Sorry. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Happy almost Thanksgiving. So anyway, I blew my knee out pretty bad last week, so I'm on a cane. I'm going to do the best I can to show you what's going on. All right, so dominating circles. Okay. Now, thing about it is I'm a short guy, okay? And I'm always talking about being the short guy. And the problem with being a short guy is that people are bigger than me that would attack me, and they're going to fall down on me. And that's exactly what happened to my knee. I was doing a takedown, and my foot got caught in a gopher hole, and the weight of my opponent landed, and my feet got trapped underneath the falling opponent. So that's something that we don't want to happen. So that kind of is ironic that it's happening that we have a takedown today, right? So what I want to talk about is the upper quadrant of something that's really important. When the person grabs you and you're doing that first move, well, there's a lot of people that like to put an insert in, which is great. If you put an insert in and the person goes forward, their center of mass and their center of gravity moves forward, which means if I'm going to continue with the technique, it's going to be against what I want to do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw my hand up. Am I going to hit him? Maybe, maybe not. But if anyone does that to anybody, they're going to respond backwards. So if I do this, they're going to respond backwards to get away from it, which is now causing their center of mass to go backwards in this direction, which is now aiding to me to go in the direction I want to go. So as that happens, I'm going to go one, and then I'm going to double factor and come in and drop. Okay, when I drop in this position here, I like to use a leg buckle. Turn sideways. But when I do that leg buckle, his leg's going to shoot up, and that's going to cause his upper body to move further back. Okay, so one more time. So as he's got me in this position, I'm going to shoot here, and then I'm going to, or I can pin, or even if I don't pin, I'm going to go from here, shoot, and drop. Now, an essential thing for this, let's move this way a little bit, is once I drop here, I don't want to stop my momentum because that leg's going to go up. I'm going to go 1, 2, and I'm going to turn and shoot him down right away. So it's going to go 1, 2. When I shoot that leg, he's going to fall. That way I know there's a clear path of where he falls. Now, I'm not going to get into the takedown mode about this because of my knee. So that's kind of my take on the upper body. Now, however, I have a cane right now, so I can't really do this technique on anybody. So AJ came up with a name for this. It's called dominating half a circle. And so we're going to show you how that technique works. First thing I do is I notice cane work, you flip the cane around. I learned that from some cane techniques that I used to do with Steve Herring. We did cane sets, so we worked with the cane a lot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this and switch it. So if the trouble's coming in, as he grabs, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pop him up, causing the same thing that just happened. Okay, I'm going to come here. I'm going to go around. As I step, I'm going to drop the cane here on his chest, and I'm going to hook his neck. From the takedown, I take his neck all the way down from here. Let's do this way. Sorry. So you can see, once I have him down here, I reverse the cane. I go tempo, body, reverse, throwing shot. From this position, I cover out and limp the heck out of there. One more time. So this is my version of dominating circles with the cane. He comes in, he grabs, pop, let him know, coming in, drop the arm on the cane, shoot it up, grab the neck, take him down from this position, and you're going to go 1, 2, 3. Throwing shot. When his head comes up, you can swing it and take a nice golf swing, as Dan Mack calls it, G-O-F-F, golf, and play and tee off that way. So that's my version of that. And AJ's going to go ahead and take off the next section of the lower body quadrant. I'm going to step out. We have a different Uki. Mr. Jerry Bolito is going to go. Go, AJ.
So one thing for me also is when we do this double factor here and we hit this parry, this arm may not be here. You're kind of causing it to shoot off to the side. So you could actually kind of miss that grab there. So first of all, I like to pin this here. And I actually make this almost like a lone kimono action. Get a hyper extension out of it. Okay, what's that going to do? It's actually going to make him pull you back in, aiding you in what you need to do. So after I hit this step, I cause the hyper extension up, then I can drop back down in. From there, I'm going to be stepping behind. Sorry. Boom. Here. Now, instead of doing, I've always had a little bit of trouble with this takedown. Okay. Same reason. They kind of almost fall onto that leg, which is why you need a solid forward bow. So what I like to do is I like to get out of here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to step out. As I step, I'm going to keep the same, just like we would in the base technique, turning the head, grabbing the arm. But I'm going to step out and I'm going to sweep this leg up. As that goes up, for a second, boom. As he comes down, I'm going to come back and I'm going to drop that forearm right down, either across the neck or across the chest. Boom, sending him back down. Okay, so one more time. We have, boom, we have the hyper extension that we add. Whap, keeping that tight. We drop, shoot that back, step out, sweep, and then hammer back down as it comes down. So pretty simple, just taking out that spread and the twist. Very hard to control someone, especially if they're falling down off their base. They're going to want to go down. Very hard to control someone in the twist stance. So I'm going to boom, top, step out, and then sweep the leg. This makes it a little more easier for me.
All right, cool. Back to you. Here we go. And pow. There you go, guys. We'll see you later. We'll be back in a few.
Slice. It was a slice. Sorry.
I can't golf. That's terrible.
It's Goff. Goff. G-O-F-F, like that quarterback you guys had out there. They should have played Goff because he's no good at football. Anyway, thank you very much to Angelo and AJ. I got to tell you, I was struggling to come up with a joke for the hat, AJ. You know, because it's got to be like a freezing cold 62 degrees out in LA for you to be wearing a hat.
He wants a professional. That's why he's doing it.
He's a pro. Okay, and shout out to Jerry. It's always good to see Jerry Valito. What a good dude. What a good dude. All right, moving right along. We're going to send it down to Maryland we have surprises. We had Larry Kingaika earlier, which was a surprise. Tony Capone earlier, which was a surprise. And then we're going to throw it over to Saburo, who's with one of our oldest friends in Kenpo.
Halfway.
Years and years and years, Saburo and Dev.
How
you guys doing?
Hey! There we go. That guy's big.
That's awesome.
Who's that guy?
All right. You guys look like the Quizos commercial where the basketball player's head was out of the shot.
All right, guys. Hey, welcome to the Brotherhood Roundtable. This is Dev Short. Came all the way from Delaware. We were doing some knife stuff earlier. As you can see, he's a pretty big, tall dude. I'm like 6'4". He's like 9.5. But anyway, dominating circle. How am I gonna pull that off on somebody this side. So I think this technique was definitely created for a few big Kenpo guys, not the little guys. So for me to make it work, I have to insert something, because in the beginning, like everybody was saying earlier, you have a big void before you even get to the technique. Another thing that I don't like about it is how often do you get grabbed with the right hand to the side like that. Most likely it'll be more direct, but we have to learn how to deal with stuff in an awkward position. All right, so if he grabs, okay, you can move out and up and do all that just like the way it's written, which is very difficult to do for somebody my size against somebody this big. So what I like to do is, let's just pretend that the situation started and I know I'm gonna get into a fight and this guy is gonna come in and attack me. So I'm gonna give him a reason and bait him in to attack me. Hopefully he aim a punch or something towards my my face. Okay, so as he comes in, I can pop him just like in attacking mace. First move of attacking mace, then I can move up, because based on, if you break a few bones right here, a few ribs right here, he should double forward. Now that allows me to come in and shoot the buckle and heel palm right there. So I'm going to turn Mr. Dev around so you guys can see on this end. All right, so once I buckle and I hit, okay, I immediately pivot into a twist stance right away, and I'm gonna ride his arm right here. I don't grab the wrist like most people do. I'm gonna just hug it, because look it, I grab him, he yanks out, pretty easy. If I hug him right here, yank out, it's a lot harder. I'm gonna go with him. At the same time, as I do this, I'm gonna use the shape of the crane. Instead of a heel palm, I'm gonna use the shape of the crane and use this hook right here, just like Angelo was doing with the cane, except that I'm doing it with my hand. And that is gonna strike right to the triangle right here, which is your carotid. Boom, that way. If I can get this break, great. If I can't, it's okay. I wanna control his head, because wherever, somebody said earlier, if you control the head, the body will follow. So from here, I'm gonna continue to control his head, crank that arm. Okay, scoot back a little bit. So the key moves right here, if you guys can see me, once I get here, I want to get up here to the top of Dev's head as quickly as I can, because from here, as you can see, his left hand is right there. If he swings backward, I'm going to get hit in the groin, okay? Or if he's fancy, he can just roll out, because right now I have really no control of him at all. So what I want to do here is control his head, push it straight down to the ground, and I'm going to step out and back, very similar to backbreaker type of foot maneuver, okay? So I want to get right on top of his head and push down, okay? So back this way a little bit, this way, no, yep, like that. Okay, so what we want to do here is push him down hard enough to where he may need his other hand to post up, okay? Yep, post up like that, okay? Because if I continue to push and pull, he'll go on his face. Once he feels that, he's going to stop himself from falling by placing his hand on the floor. And it's very important that you do that, because if you don't, he's going to be able to do whatever he wants from here. By controlling his head and cranking this arm right here gives you some control, okay? The important thing here is that I'm keeping, stay right there, don't move. I'm keeping Dev's head right between my feet, okay? So I'm not sideways. Once again, if you're sideways, they can roll out, okay? So I'm on top of his head. Now from here, pain compliant. So I'm gonna crank his arm and push his head down. So he's gonna keep going down, and I'm gonna guide him where I need him to go. Then from here, you can do whatever you want. Double knee drop, bounce off kick, or just stomp him in the head, call him a few names, walk away, and you're done. Thank you, sir. All right, so this technique you can stem from attacking mace like I did, or leaping crane, dance of death, thundering hammer, okay, all of that. So the relationship here is that if you take a look, I think the important thing here in this technique that Mr. Parker is trying to teach us is how to use your arm as a trap. Okay, so we have circling wings. The guy choke you from behind. Two-hand choke. Yep, so we go this way, and there's that trap, right? We go boom, boom. So now in this case, because of his left leg is forward, I don't have nothing to buckle. Okay, so in this case, in what are we doing again? Dominating circle, he has his right leg forward. Okay, and we do that. And then what other technique do we have that move in? How about conquering shield? Conquering shield, you're on the outside of his left. There's that arm trap again. So if you use your arm trap, what can you do? You can go up with it, you can come down with it, okay? If you're here, I can trap and hold on, poke him, elbow him, just like we did earlier, or I can get back and behind him and take him down. So that's example of outside of the right, outside of the left, or outside of right, but you want to work his center line. Okay, in circling wings, that's exactly what we are doing. We're staying on the outside while we're working on the inside. Okay, but the principle here is the same with the trap, up, down type of motion. Okay, so that's what I got for now. And also, Lorenzo was doing form 4 motion, which was one of the points that I wanted to bring out. So good job on Lorenzo and everyone else. Dan Dunpro, awesome. Anyway, and Larry Kangaika, Noah, and Mr. Capone, good to see you guys. Wish you were there, or will be there next weekend, instead of this weekend, but that's okay. I'm sure we'll catch up soon. Anyway, back to you, Dan. Thank you.
All right, so let me tell you something. Just seeing Dev puts a big smile on my face. Watching Sabora work contact manipulation on Dev put a gigantic smile on I took pictures and everything. I was watching it like this. Excellent stuff, excellent stuff. All right, well, that brings us to our final presenter of the day. Now, our final presenter, Mr. Paul Dye, needs no introduction because he's Paul Dye. But here's what I want to say. This guy has, from what I've seen, he's been able to skate the Wrath of Kenpo. Now, when I say the Wrath of Kenpo, I'm not talking about getting punched in the face. I'm not talking about that cup shot that you wish didn't happen. When I'm talking about the Wrath of Kenpo, I'm saying I have never heard anybody say a bad thing about this guy. Not everything everybody says about Paul Dye is super complimentary. So I was so excited when I finally got to meet him a couple months ago here on the Roundtable. And you know what? The rumors are all true. He's just a good dude. He's just a good dude and a super talented Kenpo guy. All right. I'll leave it at that. I'll just say he's awesome. It is my honor to present Mr. Paul Dye.
Thank you very much, Dan. I appreciate those kind words. You just haven't talked to the right people yet. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, you guys, you killed the circle technique. A lot of memories on that one. But I'm going to go to the old boring thing, like when we were in school, the old history class, man, where we fell asleep or we did whatever while the teacher's talking about history. And actually, the reason I want to do that is because you guys have taught so many years and you do great. There we go. Okay. If any of the students ever have questions about some of the material that you work with, this might be just a little bit that you can have in your back pocket to kind of show them where some of the material came from. Some of this is 1960s, definitely like 1970, somewhere in that time zone. I'm going to do like 4 of them, and then I want to see if you guys can find the commonality between the 4 or 5 techniques. And AJ's just volunteered his body, but it's more. I want to do it, illustrate it so you can see it rather than at speed. Otherwise, you miss the whole thing. And you're going to find that they're very, very simple techniques. So the first one, Angelo, can you see if we're good? Okay, it's just a direct wrist grab. So to show you how simple it used to be, this would be the guys that learned in the late 50s, maybe the mid 60s. Instead of the gripping talents and all those things, you just impact the back of the hand with your knee, groin kick, and then poke them in the eye. So you just turn the hand, smash it, kick it, hit them. Very, very simple, straightforward. Lone kimono is not how it is now. Lone kimono was actually, it was the what if of snapping twig. So a snapping twig, if the elbow's here, you strike there. If the elbow's on the bottom, you hit here. And of course, it is cool, but you'll kind of maybe find out why some of the changes. So it was straight down, just straight into Adam's apple. Twin kimono was the same, slap them, and then you go. Very simple, straightforward. There is a technique we used to have that if you're a Tracy person or if you have a friend that's a Tracy student, they still do this technique. It was dancer. It's a choke. It's a twist dance and a hand sword. You duck out, reverse hand sword, and then kick in the face. Right? So there's 4 techniques. We could probably do a few more, but I don't want to bore you guys. But what do the 4 techniques have in common? And that's kind of a tricky question because we think of strikes or what the grab is or those type of things. What the techniques have in common is all those techniques have no checks. So the original, and of course, they have striking checks or impacting checks, but the reality, not the checks, how Mr. Parker morphed it as the years went by. So, and some of them are like the old lone kimono, you can actually do more bodily harm than the new one because you're hitting Adam's apple, not side of the neck. So for the people who are more proficient or all the upper rank guys, of course, that's a tool you can put in your toolbox. Dancer, groin shot, double groin shot, kick in the face, you get out of a choke. Can't really argue with that. But each one of those techniques do not have checks built into them. Okay, so what transpired? What I think transpired is that Mr. Parker, his observations of his students performing his art form allowed him to see things that need improvement. So I'll give you an example. And this one I can tell you because I actually talked to him at his school, right out of his office in Pasadena, and that was hooking wings. So hooking wings, when I first learned curriculum with hooking wings, is the same one where you go here, boom, boom, and boom. And of course, when you learn something, just like how you learn from your teacher, that's how you want to do it. That's how you like it, and you really don't want to change. So of course, that's where I was. And when I actually went to Pasadena school to talk to him about something else. And that he showed me, Frank, and John Murillo and Paul Gerard the night before, which was a Monday. So when I had his ear, I just asked him, I go, why the change? Why do you want to do this? Because we liked hooking wings. And of course, hooking wings went to the kick and the figure 8 and the elbow and the claw thing. He goes, hooking wings okay. He goes, as long as you can hurt somebody. He goes, but you got to remember, maybe the person you're showing it to isn't as proficient as who you are. So what we have to do is built in checks. So I made the fatal mistake of saying, well, I don't really see a check in the technique. He goes, okay, so shoot a push and shoot a right-left punch. Okay. So I did the push, did a right and left punch, and the check is built into the flight of the technique. So you just shoot right, left. It was here, just here, boom, and boom. He goes, that answers your question. It's like, oh, that's so cool. So the checking part of that technique is actually built in the flight. Okay. The old crossing talon, maybe Mr. Lawler and Mr. Meck and Mr. Chan have seen, crossing talon was just this. You didn't turn anything over. You just grabbed and, of course, you use the elbow on elbow. Of course, it hurts. Yes, it's going to break. But like what me and AJ were talking about before we got together today is there's margin of error. So we have possibilities of missing, slipping and getting hit. And it may be okay for the real proficient. We got to keep in mind we're not showing it to the proficient. We're showing it to kind of beginner intermediate. So what happens is first we have a counter grab, which turns them. Then we have bluff. It's more checking capability. So I think I've had students over the years ask about some material. Like, where did it come from? How did it come to be? When you have those type of students that are very, very interested, this just gives you maybe a little bit more background on some of the techniques. Some are gone. Some have went away, like the wrist kick and the poke. There's no checking. He took it out. One other thing I was telling the guys here is, before we went online, is that obviously Mr. Parker's not here, we could ask, but I was talking to AJ about Mr. Parker and how do we describe people we know. So if you think about, like, if I asked Mr. Meck about his father, how would Dan explain his father to me? The same way I would explain my father to him. We kind of talk in facts. It's facts. It's facts. So, my dad was born in 1908. He was, he lived in Indiana. He was in World War II, bought a home after the war. He worked for Atlantic Ridgefield, sold Snap-on tools. He golfed. He was actually a professional golfer and bought, a Cadillac. But that didn't tell you about my dad. It doesn't tell you. So what I was telling AJ is the hard part with Mr. Parker is they ask, like people will ask, what was he like? And then what me and Angela say, well, he was a Hawaiian guy. He played ukulele. He liked Chinese food. But that doesn't tell you about Mr. Parker. So maybe this will help you. If you never met him, maybe this will really help you. If you met him and you didn't have a lot of time with them, maybe this will assist also. So what we know is there were techniques that got thrown out. We know there were techniques that modified. Okay, why do you modify them? In his own mind, just like in your own curriculum, we think it's for the enhancement and protection of the student. That's, kind of what his belief is, and that's what he did. Here's the kicker. The kick is that he changed the technique. These changes actually came in the early 70s. If you talk with Mr. Planis, he was right there. He's probably going to inform you a lot on the change of those techniques. But why did he change the technique? Okay, so he changed technique. For the most part, put in checks, safety valves, all those type of things. What we do know, if it was done in the early 70s, we know he has a whole generation or two of black belts prior to that time. So what he has to do now is he has to go back in front of those fellows or girls and say, hey, we're going to make some changes. We're going to delete some. We're going to add some. We're going to modify some. And we all know how it is with change. Sometimes a lot of people don't dig the change, but he's going to do that. Okay, so let's ask yourself a question. I remember teaching back east in Baltimore. I asked a big class, I say, let me ask you this. In World War II, when little Hitler's running around Europe with the little Third Reich, and halfway through the war, is he going to go up to the Third Reich and say, hey, guys, I think I didn't have it quite right. I need to change something. It's not going to happen. Because we know, or at least historians have kind of told us, that his ego's pretty fanatical. Okay, Mr. Parker's just the opposite. What he has to do is go in front of his first and second generation of black belts and say, hey, I want to make the changes because I think the techniques are better. I think it's better for the students, and maybe it wasn't quite as good the first time around. Okay, so ask yourself, who would make the change? He would make that change. He would address that issue if his ego's kind of in control, if that kind of helps you guys. So what it did for me is enables me to teach my students about what Mr. Parker's like without using factoids. As a matter of fact, we're actually doing it with his own art form. And at the end of the day, you actually get extra techniques to put in your pocket. So hopefully that makes some sense. Hopefully I didn't go over like I did last time. Sorry, guys, about that. But, I am glad I might get a little crazy and fanatical. if anybody has any questions or anything else about those things, you can feel free to call me, do whatever, or get a hold of Angela or AJ, and we can talk more about that. Appreciate it. Thanks for letting me back. And of course, maybe next time Mr. Thompson will be off the boat and he can work with you guys. Thanks again, guys. Appreciate it.
All right, don't go anywhere because you said if anybody has any questions, I have a question. I'm taking advantage of this. Number one, when you talked about being in Baltimore, this isn't a question, but if you did that seminar in Baltimore around 1996, 1997, right. I was there. I appreciated it. So thank you very much. But number two, you did Dancer. Now, my understanding is that Dancer was a Tracy technique, not a Parker technique. Did Mr. Parker come up with that technique, or was that a Tracy technique?
Well, that I don't know. Of course, he is here. We would ask. It is still curriculum first in Tracy. So every once in a while, I'll pull it out of the hat and do it on the road, and somebody will say, "Man, you know that's Tracy technique." It is. So I don't know, which way it goes. And I actually tell my students that. But the thing with Dancer, the very important thing, especially for your female students, it will get them out of a choke for sure. What they do with it when you stand up, that's something else. But it's one of the rare techniques that will actually physically get them out of the choke without hitting. And I'll show you what I mean real quick. Choke. Like choke me to death. Choke. Get it red. Choke. Come on, choke something. Get out. So I think Dancer itself, very important for curriculum. What I did with Dancer, Dan, is I brought it back into curriculum and I added, I don't know, it was about maybe 12 to 15 moves at the end of Dancer. So hopefully that helps. But I actually don't know who came up with the technique, but it's beautiful.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Mr. Dye. I really appreciate it. Dancer is a technique that I learned because I started out in Tracy's system, and that's one of the Tracy techniques that I still reference. So it's refreshing, and it confirms I'm headed in the right direction to see you teaching it as well. So thank you very much, Mr. Paul Dye. We really, really appreciate it. And you go over time anytime you want because I love listening. All right. So now that brings us to the final portion of the day. Pass the mic. Each instructor, if you guys wouldn't mind unmuting your mics, each instructor is going to get about 30 seconds. And I'm going to start off with my man, Mr. Brian Saul.
All right. What a great day. Filled with surprises. So first of all, I don't think he's on anymore right now, but Mr. Tabatabai, thank you. What a great class there. Mr. Dye, same thing. I could sit there. I was just like a kid eating popcorn listening to the story. That was awesome. Thank you so much. Giddy Gail made me laugh. Thank you, Gail. Dev. Oh my God. So good to see you, my friend. That was a great surprise. Mr. Capone, Mr. Kungaika, and all my brothers. Thank you, everybody. What a great week.
Thank you, Mr. Saul, throwing it up to London, Ontario, Canada.
Now, I'll tell you, I'm with you, Brian. I was eating these chips. This is my third bag. They're amazing. And even though they went over their 5-minute time, that's okay. All right. That's why I went through 3 bags of chips. But Mr. Dye, I know I've never met you in person, sir, but as always, I enjoy the history lessons. I enjoy the stories. I salute you, sir. And Mr. Tabaya, I know you may be gone. We know each other. We've met. Blah, blah, blah. So great seeing you again, sir. And for Michael Miller, Michael, congratulations.
Yeah.
Thank you, brother. How can I forget that in my 30 seconds?
I want you to play. I want you to go play tonight and wear that new belt. I'll be there with you, buddy. Anyway, this Mark Lawler would know this. This is my black belt grading weekend. So it's a 3-day exam, written. I have a written component and everything else I got to go through. And tomorrow's the extravaganza. Used to have Mr. Trey up here for years, and then Mr. Lawler jumped in his place, and Miss Doreen, she's been up here once for it. But that's what I got going on. But I just want to say, Brotherhood, you guys are amazing, man. So amazing. I mean, 3 bags of chips, and I still got 2 more to go through. So I salute you all. Keep up the good work. The Brotherhood, that's where it's at. And Dan, I like this. I like Brian's better, but I like yours too. Glasses.
Thank you
I always
very
liked
much,
you,
Mr.
Steve.
Stewart. Thank you very much. All right. You know what? I'm going to throw it over to Lorenzo.
Hello. Hello. Thank you so much to Mr. Dait and Mr. Mohamad Tabatabai for your explanation about the technique. I love to listen the first generation of the black belt. So thank you so much. And of course, Michael Miller, you need to pay at least one cup of wine. At least, okay? Congratulations, my brother. Congratulations. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We'll continue with the party next month, okay? See you again and keep safe, all people, okay? Ciao. Bye.
Take care, Lorenzo.
Thank you very much, Monty. We're going to throw it down to the party in Miami.
Salute to all. Thank you so much. There's 3 of us. Brothers, Kenpo, family.
That's awesome, guys.
Respect and have fun. That's all it's important. Yes, and just Angelo, you're keeping your left arm straight, but you're not following through on the Congratulations. Long overdue, sir. Congratulations. Awesome job.
Congratulations.
Thank you, guys.
All right. Thank you very much. We're going to throw it over to Michael Miller.
Hey, guys. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Hey, Siri, call Chris Cell on speaker.
And it was...
Oops, sorry.
You're fine. You're fine, brother. Anyway, thanks, guys. Appreciate it. And it was another great show. Great to see Mr. Kangaika. Great to see Mr. Capone. And as always, you guys are awesome. Big part of our group. And Mr. Tabatabai and Mr. Dai, thank you guys. We really appreciate you guys doing this for us. So keep rocking. God bless everybody. And let's keep moving.
All right, I'm going to throw it to me. I was supposed to go like 3 ago, but my wife just pulled up and my dogs are freaking out. So that's why I was calling her to tell her, get in the house to shut the dogs up. Anyway, all right, I want to share this story with you real quick. Brian mentioned this, so I just wanted to clarify what the deal is. So back in the day in the WKK, Brian and I, like I said, we'd be standing next to each other all the time, training with Ed Parker, training with Joe Palonzo. And we got to the point with Joe Palonzo where we were the guys that weren't allowed to answer the questions in class because he knew we knew all the answers because we just trained so much with him. So he would go to the other students. So at one point he asked a question. I had no idea what the answer was. Brian had no idea what the answer was. And we were the benefit of him assuming that we knew the answer because when no one else knew the answer to the question, he looks at Brian and I and goes, midpoint balance. And Brian and I looked at him like, yeah, of course. And then after that weekend, we ran home, pulled out the Encyclopedia Kenpo and looked up midpoint balance. So since then, since Brian and I didn't know the answer in my studio, it always is when you're on a test, if you don't know the answer, one get out of jail free card is midpoint balance. And that's what he was referencing. All right, moving right along, we're going to throw it to Kennett Square, Mark Lawler.
Hey, everybody. Great afternoon again. I want to say thanks to Tony Capone, Larry, Deverick for coming along today. It was great seeing you guys. And, of course, Mr. Dye, that was some great stuff. And Mohamad, if you're still on the call, great seeing you again. Steve, say hi to everybody up in Canada for me, please. COVID kind of killed that whole deal for me coming up there, but I hope to come back again. And congratulations to Mike again. And we got the makings of a kick-ass band here. I hope you realize that. We got Steve on lead vocals, the Bon Jovi man. We got Mike's a very good vocalist and guitar player, and you got me. I do the Van Halen, Jimi Hendrix thing. We just need a drummer. I mean, let's go. I'm ready. All right. That's all I got.
Don't forget Mike Miller.
Dan's beatbox.
Mike Miller.
Here. I'm dying over here. Sorry, I got dogs barking. I got people trying to get in here. Sorry, Mr. Lawler. All right, for Mark Lawler, we're going to throw it out to the undisclosed location for Angelo. Angelo, unmute your mic. Turn on your camera, please. Angelo and Mr. Paul Dye and AJ and Jerry. It's just a party over there in L.A. Still doesn't have his camera on.
There we go.
Angelo, turn your camera on.
There we go. Hey, guys.
Where's he
Thank
at?
you guys all for
There we
attending.
go.
My buddy, my mentor, Mr. Paul Dye, and you got Jerry Valito here with us. Everybody knows AJ. Thank you guys for everything. And Mrs. Dye, thank you for being here. Come here for a second. Quickly, hurry, run, jump. She's filming. Everyone say hi to Mrs. Patty Dye. She's here also. She's always one of us. So I just gotta say thank you to everybody for participating again, and hopefully things will get back on the mat soon.
Yep.
So
And thanks for the invitation. I really appreciate it. You guys definitely on the right path. You're good guys. Good Kenpo is very knowledgeable, and we'll rock somewhere in the world somewhere.
Cool.
Thank you much, the California contingent. And then we're going to throw it down to Sabura and Dev.
Hey, everybody. Once again, thank you for tuning in. It was great to see everybody. Thank you to Mr. Paul Dye, Mr. Mohamad. Amazing class. I always enjoy watching and listening to you guys. And thanks to everybody for tuning in again. And Mike Miller, congratulations, brother. Long overdue, well deserved. And I know you reject a bunch of promotional offer before. Finally, you caved in, which is great. So, next weekend we will be in Miami. So if you happen to be in the area, come over and join us at the Pan Am International Championship with Mr. Manny Reyes. Going to be a great tournament. He told me that he's got some 450, 500 people pre-register, and he's expecting to exceed 600 competitors, which is massive. Okay, but normally though, before COVID, I heard he has at least 800 competitor. But anyway, we will be there mingling around, meeting everybody, greeting everybody, and our seminar will be on that Sunday. Should be a blast. And if you're not in the area, hey, what excuse do you need to come to Miami? Go to Miami, beautiful beaches, and you get to do Kenpo with us. So hope to see you there, and looking forward to seeing those who will be there. Also, next roundtable will be December 4th, I believe, at least as of right now. I will confirm it with you once we have it locked down 100%. I think it is, though.
Yeah, December 4th looks right. Yeah.
Yep. And also March 19th, that is going to be our 10th year anniversary celebration for the Brotherhood. Mark your calendar. That's going to be a huge weekend, and lots of things are going on. I will keep everybody updated as we get closer. Mr. Dan, that's all I got. Thank you so much. Everybody, have a great weekend. Salute. Oh, Mr. Dev, you say anything?
Just want to say hello to everybody that I always see. Nice to meet you for the people I've never met before. And as far as what Mr. Dye said, I am all about the change, and I'm definitely all about hearing the history. I have no problem. I love that stuff.
Amen.
So good seeing everybody. And congratulations on your promotion, Mr. Miller.
Oh, thank you, sir.
Awesome.
And it's good to see you, Dev. It's good to see you. All right. Well, thank you very much, everybody. That's our show. We'll see you again in a month.
Salute, everybody. Salute. Love you guys.